Hey, what's going on, guys? 118 Set Shadow here. So let's go ahead and get straight in today. We're going to cover a few different things that are happening across the different sets and the promos. And we're going to have a quick look at trial decks again today. There are two specific cards I just want to call out on that front. So starting with Uma Musume's singles, I want to talk about one of the harder to get legendaries at this point, which is Agnes Tachyon. Right now, it's only got 3 listings at this point on the base version of the Legendary, 14 listings if you want the evolved version, and the base version is $16.50, while the evolved version is about $6. Market prices fall along the same lines, and if you want the super legendaries of each, they're actually right around the same price. They're both starting at $26, and their market prices align about $30 to $31. And then, of course, if you're looking to pick up the signed versions, none of them have sold yet, but the base form has a $322 starting listing, while the evolved version is starting at $169 right now. So with that, let's move on to Silent Suzuka, which I kept on calling Silent Shizuka by, well, I just keep calling her Shizuka all the time, but yeah, it's Suzuka. In any case, looking at listings for this one, we can already see that the signed version of the regular form has sold around $120 when we look at that market price. And then right now the base listing is $350, which I think is still going to be a stretch, but we'll have to see where it goes. We also have, it's kind of scattered when it comes to Suzuka. The evolved version Super Legendary has sold at around a market price of $22 and is currently $16.51 base. If you want the booster pack base version, it's $10 now, base 32 listings available. There's also the one from the trial deck, which hasn't sold, and no question as to why. $16 for the trial deck version as compared to $10 for the booster pack version. I think the answer is pretty obvious there. And then, yeah, no one's bought the Super Legendary. The Super Legendary is only $1 higher for the base value than the trial deck version of the Legendary. No, that's another reason not to go for the trial deck one. And then you've got the Evolved SP, the Evolved Sign version at $225 right now in 6 listings, but nobody has bought that one yet. And then Ogre Cap is going to be our last one for Uma Musume today. It's holding alright for its legendary. It's got 20 listings and is still around $15, $16, and so is the market price. The Super Legendary is now at $46, and the market price on that is only $30. While the signed version of this one, we're looking at about $172. Market price on that one is $147-ish. So, at least in comparison to some of the others, it's not like it's really high in comparison. I wonder what we're looking at in terms of all of that. Let's see. 169, 170. So players have been buying this at 170 more recently, and it was initially sold for 100. And I think those were the only 3 that sold there, so yeah, that's how we're looking for those. Dark Angel Olivia is falling out a little bit on both of its rarities. We've got a lot more listings on the Legendary now, starting at $34. It's still a pretty high price, and players still bought it for $39 to $40. And to be fair, that $34 listing is the only one that is that low right now. Otherwise, it's $39 base if you want to pick it up. Moving into the leader cards from set 2, since we haven't looked at those for a while, we've got Michelle, which is for Forest Craft, and it currently has a $30 listing and has been on a downtrend for quite some time on its market price. The last few listings sold for $35 plus, and all the listings aside from the lowest one are also $35 plus right now. So once that $30 one goes, I would imagine it'll still stay in the $30 range for a while. But then you've got Prim Adventuring Princess, which seems to bottom out just under $30 and then just sit there for a while. But this one also sells for $35, $34 more often than not. And it does have one extra listing that's under $30 in comparison to Michelle, and more listings right at $30 too. So it's a little easier to pick up than Michelle is, but yeah, still around the same price overall. The foil version of base form Made Leader is going back up in value. It saw a bit of a downturn before getting closer to $5, but over time we saw this card just climb back up, and now we're hitting a market price of $650-ish, and most quantities are now at around $630, $650. But yeah, ultimately it's just moving its way back up there after its market price took a dip into the low sixes for a little while. Merlin is also on a downtrend, which is interesting to see. There is a $11 listing on it right now, and then it goes back up to 15 for the rest of them. I think it's all the same seller undercutting all these other sellers right now for a few of these. So yeah, I guess that's a bit more artificially induced, but it doesn't change the fact that Merlin has been on a downtrend regardless and is now about $16 market price and mostly selling for 15, 16 anyway, so just keep that in mind. Downtrends are still in the works here with cards like the alternate art version of Aria. We talked about how this card was pretty high priced at 100 and even in the 90s, but it is now all the way down to $23, $25 now for a fair amount of quantities, and it's mostly $30 aside from that. Can it go down any further? It could. I don't think Aria is going to be played as much nowadays, but it still might see some play here and there until set 3 hits, and then I think it's just kind of going to sit there as filler. And then we got Demonic Strike. As the BCS tournaments for Bushiroad come to an end, we're moving into the last minute qualifiers, which are limited to Texas and California at this point. And I don't remember if they're actually going to give Demonic Strike as an entry promo for those. I actually did not look at any of that as to what you can get. I think it might have just been Angelic Barrage. But in terms of sales right now, the card is down to $90, $95 for a lot of listings, and then it eventually works its way back up. But with as many $90, $95 listings as it's got, I think it's only going to go down from here. Erica, as one of the starter deck cards, this is still the only leader that's above $1 and is still at least $3 to pick up. And it still sells $3 to $4 right now. Not much else to say there. I mean, they make it look like it's on a downturn, which I guess I'm actually surprised. I don't remember it selling above $4 before. Oh, it did right at the beginning, and I guess it just progressively went down. In any case, it's still above your typical price when you consider that leader cards from the starter decks only really sell for about $1. So it's just amazing to see that this one continues to hold above all of them despite that. And our final card today is Dragon Oracle, which is still exclusive to Wrath of Greatworm, the starter deck. I had mentioned before how it was still in the 70-cent range, but could still see a lot of play as we go along, and it looks like it's starting to rack up in price because of that too. As Dragoncraft continues to be one of the bigger decks to play, now you have to pay at least $2 to pick up one of these, meaning you're going to be spending at least $6 in order to pick up a whole playset, which you're still basically playing a playset in every variant of Dragon right now. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later.